Hello, my name is Darlene Garcia, and this is my practicum videocast, Self-Reflection.
Good afternoon, Darlene. What strengths do you possess, and how did you utilize them at your practicum site?
One of my gifts is the ability to advocate for my people at RCA, or Recovery Consultants of Atlanta. When something is needed, I am quick to find out how I can help them. I find out which person who's in charge of various areas that may be able to help this particular person, whatever the needs are. So I'm really good at advocating. I'm even a better listener. I enjoy sitting down and listening, which opens up the door for any of the associates to come talk to me because they know that I truly care and that I'm listening.
What were your weaknesses, and how did you overcome and grow from them at your practicum site?
Well, I say that one of my weaknesses is I have the ability to advocate for others, but I find it very hard to advocate for myself. So being at my practicum, I've learned to open up and ask for what I really need in reference to help, guidance, and even understanding. And I've taken that a little further just in my personal life. I've learned to stand up and speak for me. Because one of the things that I've learned in life, if I don't speak up for me, nobody else will. So I've learned to advocate for me.
Darlene, this is a two-part question. How did you develop your 10 core social work competencies as defined by the Council on Social Work Education? Part 2, can you give a couple of examples of how you have used those competencies and practice behaviors at your practicum sites?
Sure. Even though I've had to, throughout my matriculation at Clark Atlanta as a MSW student, have had to be exposed to all 10 core competencies, I'm just going to talk about a few for this particular exercise. The first one is professional identity. For me, I always identify myself at my practicum as a professional social worker. A professional social worker to be, who will be graduating in May 16th. May 16th. And the other one is ethical practice. I always take into consideration to be very ethical about everything I do to protect myself as well as the client, and also to protect RCA, Recovery Consultants of Atlanta, as well, for giving me the opportunity to do my internship there. Back to professional identity, I think it's very important to carry yourself in a professional way, to dress professionally, to speak professionally, to carry yourself as a professional social worker. Historically, people have taken social workers in some cases not seriously. Anybody who runs into me will understand that, number one, I am a professional, and to respect and to take my position seriously. Third is to encourage, to engage, to assess, to intervene, and to evaluate. These are the things that I do every day when I come in contact with various clients who need my help. I engage them, and then I assess them when needed. I intervene if there's some issues, and I evaluate the situation at hand. So I use my core competencies and will continue to use them in my professional every day.
Darlene, what competencies do you believe you're weak in, and how do you plan to strengthen yourself in those areas upon graduation?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm weak in them, but there are competencies that I think I need to work on to get stronger at. One of them is critical thinking. Critical thinking is so huge as far as its range of how you evaluate situations, or how you evaluate an assessment, or how you assist when it comes to writing up information. I want to be that person that communicates well, that puts myself in an environment where I am using great communicative skills. And I think with my issues with critical thinking, in order for me to overcome that, I would need to, number one, place myself in an environment that challenges critical thinking on a consistent basis. And the other is human behavior. Human behavior is huge. There's so many different realms, from diversity to just everyday human behavior. I don't think it's something you will get in 2 years. I think that's something that comes over time and with experience. So I continue to educate myself in reference to human behavior by placing myself in environments that expose me to different situations, even ones that I'm uncomfortable with, in order to strengthen myself.
Darlene, what experiences at your practicum site were most significant and why?
Well, I have a few. One is when I was at New Beginnings and I had the opportunity to plan a Halloween program for foster children. It was very significant because these are children who don't necessarily get the opportunity to have a lot of things placed before them. And so I really took it to heart to really go out of my way to make sure that they had a wonderful time. The other is at Recovery Consultants of Atlanta. I've had the opportunity to facilitate groups, and I love how I see people go from one extreme to the other. It's very interesting when learning how to facilitate a group and still maintaining your confidence and still letting people know that, hey, this is your group, I'm just here to facilitate, and to watch the group go from people not talking to each other to carrying on full-fledged conversations that actually changed their lives. So both of those experiences are something that I will take with me and continue to add more experiences. And last but not least, my time and my education that Clark Atlanta has blessed me with. It will always be something that I will carry with me because it has opened up many doors in my life, and I'm very thankful.
Darlene, what are you most proud of in your practice with your client system at your practicum and why?
When I look at some of the experiences that I've had in other environments, it was more about, are the beds full and how much money and does this person have insurance? Recovery Consultants of Atlanta doesn't really ask about insurance. They're really about helping the people, and that's what I'm most proud of. I enjoy being in an environment that I know that what I do actually counts towards the people, and it's not about the money, it's about, hey, how can we help you? I have the opportunity to do outreach for HIV, and we're in communities going from door to door, apartment to apartment, even talking to people on the streets. You know, have you been tested? Do you need anything? How can we help you? And even if we don't have what they need, we are in a position to refer them to other locations that will help them. Our goal is never to leave a person unhelped or unserviced. And that's what I'm most proud of, at being a part of Recovery Consultants of Atlanta.
Darlene, what task or activity at your practicum site provided you with an opportunity for further growth and development in social work practice and personally?
Well, I would say that I've had the opportunity to do a lot of different things, from intake to resident assistant to groups to just a litany of task and responsibility. But one of the things that I've noticed in group is that people tell me things that, you know, in some cases I wouldn't believe that they would say, but they do. They trust me enough to open up, and they give a lot of personal information. For me personally, I've learned to listen with more of an empathetic ear, to have more empathy and respect for everything that they have to say. Because it's not easy to sit and tell, you know, why you're no longer with your family because of substance abuse, It's not easy to talk about how you can't see your children because of substance abuse issues or the fact that you've been abused, and to listen to people tell those stories. It's hard for me to listen to, but I listen with empathy and an open heart. It's even harder for them to sit there and express that information. So how does it affect me personally? It teaches me to listen to everybody with an empathetic ear, to have compassion, to be open, and to, if I can, find solutions. And that's what I'm really thankful for. I've always thought that I've been a personable kind of a person, or empathetic, but being in this environment has taken it to a different level. I listen differently and I view people in a different lens.